When Margaret first came to us, she stepped out of the trailer with these wide eyes and she looked around and she was like, where am I? I reached out to the rehoming program in the United States and told them we're looking for a special companion, someone who we can rescue and give a beautiful life. The next day, they got back to me and they said, we just got an email about a 17-year-old cow who had been used in the dairy industry her whole life, and the farmer is looking for a home for her instead of sending her to slaughter. I knew as soon as I saw her picture that Margaret was it and that her and Helen were just going to be the best of friends. After spending 17 years every single day on a dairy farm, it's the same cycle of exploitation every single day for 17 years. And so to come to a place where no one expects anything from you, it's green pastures and you have your own cozy running shed filled with all the straw and hay in the world and scratching posts on the sides of the shed, and just your own little paradise was very overwhelming and confusing for her. When Margaret first came to us, she was very shy and standoffish. We understood and accepted ahead of time that she might never come around. And that's perfectly fine. That's not what we ask for when the animals come to sanctuary. She's gonna live her best life still with Helen. And I remember one of the first days where Margaret was finally starting to accept us as humans into her life. Scooter brought her this pumpkin. What she did is he was crouched down in front of her, and she just took her forehead and she put it to his and just started licking him and started loving him and showing her affection towards him. He's just the first human that Margaret accepted into her new life. After about a month of Margaret's quarantine, we were finally able to introduce her to Helen. And so we started by moving Helen to a pasture that was very close to Margaret, so they could smell each other. And then one day we put our halter on and we brought her over to Margaret's pasture.
Margaret, you want to meet Helen?
We were so excited. Margaret saw her and just started walking over to her slowly, very curiously. And then she got close enough that they could touch, and she started licking her. And she stood there and she licked Helen for 20 minutes. It was the most beautiful moment. And honestly, from that very moment on, they are inseparable. It was an instant connection. They are side by side every day, grazing together. If one of them is sitting down, the other's hovering over them. They are just so in love. Two old ladies just living their absolute best life side by side, and they are the best of friends. When it's a really nice, mild spring day and there's no wind, they'll just sit there in the pasture and just gaze out into the field, and you can hear the birds, and they just love sitting there and doing that. It's truly like they've known each other for their entire lives.
He was picked up as a stray, very fearful, very timid. He was very shy, but he began to warm up. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking to see him getting ignored and just overlooked. You know, people were adopting smaller dogs, people were adopting younger dogs, people were adopting dogs that would get along with other dogs, and Nicholas was just ignored. People wouldn't even take him out of the kennels. The only time he ever got any play yard exercise was from staff or from volunteers. We knew what kind of dog he was. We knew he was amazing. He's one of those dogs that just likes people. He likes attention. He wants to snuggle. He wants to be on your lap. He was 3 years old and about 70 pounds, and he wanted to be on top of his people, the people that he liked. He wanted to snuggle up with them and sit with them and just be close to them. It was very, very sweet to see such a big dog just be scared of other dogs, but absolutely in love with other people. We tried a bunch of different tactics to get him adopted. We posted it multiple times on all our social media platforms. We did a segment on the news with him. We tried everything. We had planned on just basically having an entire day for Nicholas. We were calling it a picnic Saturday. So we were hoping that somebody would come and picnic. So that was the last thing we were going to try. And after that, we were just like, well, there's nothing else we have left to do. And you know, that's when the amazing thing happened. she just genuinely came in and fell in love with the dog organically. She met him and she liked him and she couldn't stop thinking about him. So literally the day before picnic Saturday, she came in, took him out one last time, and she said, you know what? He's not going back inside his kennel, he's going home. And she adopted him that day. It was amazing. When you come to a shelter, you have to come with an open mind and an open heart. And you can't expect to find perfection. A lot of these dogs are in here, they have traumas that we don't know anything about, like Nicholas. So we ask for patience, a little bit of kindness, and a lot of love.
They kill the adults for bushmeat to eat. And if they found a baby in the group, they try to sell them as a pet. I mean, imagine being with your mom in the forest with your family, and then suddenly you hear these people coming and shooting your family, and then someone comes and just put you in a cage. Kailo remembers perfectly what happened in the forest. Imagine you lose everything that you know. I really love Kailo. He's very kind, he's very sweet. But of course, I wish he was with his mom. But we are also happy that we could rescue him. For me, the most important message is just please don't think that they are pets.
This little pup ran in front of our car. We got out the car to go check on her.
She was in her bones.
We started breaking down into tears, just seeing how bad of a condition she was in.
So we took everything we had and we started feeding her.
She would extend her neck just to reach for the food.
Yeah, she was afraid. We took her to the vet and we were trying to talk to him saying, do you think that there is like a place where we can take her so somebody can find her at home? And he was like, no. The best thing that you can do is just leave her in the woods where you found her and she'll find her way.
We were trying to find her a home, and still 2.5 years later, we're trying to find her a home.
I think that you, from the beginning, had it in your heart that we were going to keep her because he is a dog lover.
We had this running joke. We were like, we can't name her. If we name her, she's ours. So
it's over.
But we kind of already knew that she was just staying with us.
She got immediately into the travel lifestyle. Yeah. The fact that she can go to different places and have new smells. She absolutely loves people and loves other animals. She gets so excited.
There was a cat that just ran underneath the car. And so I picked the cat up and I put the cat directly in front of Nala, and they both just looked at each other. Nala licked the cat. They were just totally into each other from the moment when they met.
It was kind of magical. Yeah. Whenever you have those low moments, we look at them and they give us the strength to go on. Our hearts just melt. Mostly you say, oh, I hate them so much. They should get a room. Simba's personality is the most relaxed.
He makes life look easy. I wasn't a cat person. And Simba's not a cat. He's my cat.
When he's not with Nala, he's with him. I'm like, what happened to mommy's love? Like, nobody loves me anymore in this house. I might be the evil witch here in this family. We loved our life before because we were doing what we love, which was travel and being together all the time.
Now that we're driving through countries, we're seeing more of life and just enjoy what we're actually passing by as opposed to just flying over it.
Yeah.
Now we get to do it as a family.
I think that the moment that they came into our lives, We actually really understood the meaning of appreciating every single day in your life.
I do not know what happened to the fawn's leg initially. She clearly was struggling to keep up with her mom. It was dangerous to be out alone for this little fawn by herself because there was so many predators. She would become very easy meal for them.
It's okay.
I decided to take care of her because she was very vulnerable there, and night was approaching.
Come on.
The leg brace that I made from empty oatmeal box helped her to heal faster.
Blood on the leg is much better. Try to release our baby deer in the field and see what happens. If hopefully maybe one of the moms or maybe even her real mom gonna come, because she's somewhere around with another baby. Nobody replaces the real mom. I don't wanna move too fast. I see the deer, bunch of deer coming. She's following me, and the other deer is kind of like looking. The heck is going on?
One day when I was away, a friend was taking care of the baby deer and he saw her real mom approaching our place. And my friend manages to get the baby deer close to her real mom and release her, and they recognize each other, and the doe mom started taking care of the baby, cleaning her, and the mother showing up just then was just a lucky moment, making their happy reunion possible. Since I released her, I saw her many times. She came back and it was pure joy to watch them all together.
He'd given up on life. He was just lying there waiting to go. He really was hours away from dying. He had nothing in him. He was just literally lying motionless on the forest floor. He'd given up and he didn't have the strength to do anything anyway. He didn't have the strength to move. He didn't have the strength to get up, walk. He just trusted, I guess. He had no choice, did he? He had no energy. He was taken to our vets and then he was just carried into the clinic, immediately put on a drip and assessed. They realized just how poorly he was. It took several hours before he started to, come through and respond. He could barely lift his head at the beginning. When he started to respond, he looked into your eyes. He's such a special dog. He just fully trusted you. Everybody that met him just fell in love with him. Just very gentle, very, very gentle. For the first week, he didn't move. He literally just ate and drank where he lay. And then you'll start seeing that he's taking a little biscuit. For the first week and a half, his bowl was right by him and he just continued eating and drinking. We moved his food a little bit further away from him, and he managed to get up and get his food. And slowly over the next week or two, he built the strength to stand and then to walk. He started going outside. We put him out with a couple of quiet, calm dogs, and he absolutely loved the company. I think one of the loveliest things to witness was he started to play. And that really is wonderful when you see a dog that had no hope. He got strong and he had a girlfriend and he ended up playing with her. Over the months, we literally watched Keanu's spirit come back to him. He's such a gentle soul, and you can see it in his eyes. He's one of those dogs that comes around once in a lifetime. He's a very special dog. He's one in a million. He really is. He went straight to his adopter. He's fitted in with the family. He's just a happy, normal, loving boy. You know, he's come full circle.
This is Chicken. She spends a lot of time with me, on me, playing with me. She likes to run around on the floor. She loves music and dancing. She's a very happy-go-lucky girl these days. Where we were, started seeing all of these other birds in just dire condition that needed immediate medical attention, rehabilitation, safe places to live. I wasn't sure if anyone would ever be able to touch them or be companion birds to anyone. Chicken just immediately stole my heart. When I walked into the area that Chicken was in, she started screaming for me. I walked over and opened the cage door and she jumped into my arms, and I haven't been able to let her go since. It was like she understood that I was her last chance, and she took it. I mean, I fell in love with her at that moment. She was locked in a cage for a long time. She had extreme vitamin deficiencies, which indicates a lack of light. She was kept in a dark basement for the whole first part of her life, and we think she's 20. So that's a really long time. She never did tell me her name, and the whole time I was waiting to call her my brave little chicken. And it just kind of stuck. She started responding to the word chicken, and she likes it, so it just stuck. That's her name. People really love her. I mean, they really love her. And Chicken really came back from a broken life and is now thriving and succeeding and overcoming. We just want her to be happy and at peace and secure.
What are you doing?
She wants to fly. All the rest of my birds fly, and so we've developed our own way of flying, where I hold her in my hands and she'll flap her wings and she'll guide me around. She'll lean towards a direction she wants to go, or she just wants to be out. She wants to walk around. She wants to play in the trees. She wants to interact with people. It's really adorable. She loves children. She'll say hi to everybody. I'm really impressed with her ability to just go through so much and then come back on the other side, trust people again and love again.
As I got out of the van, I see this really, really small puppy, and I could tell she was sick and wasn't eating pretty well. No one was around her. So I pet her for a second, then I went back into this shop. I asked them, I was like, hey, have you seen that dog out there before? And they confirmed that she had been dumped there. I was on a road trip with my other two dogs, and we were traveling in a big Sprinter van. in the desert, and I pulled off to stop. Her ribs were showing. She had like skin infections too, just from being out there. And so I was like, I have 2 dogs already. I live in an apartment. I can't have another dog. But I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and if I come out, I'll see if she's still out there. Came out, she's like waiting right by the door, wagging her tail. So slowly let Milo and Moose kind of check her out. And she's super shy. They're just like, oh, it's all good, we got you. And I left the van doors open and waited for her to crawl in, and she did. I was gonna drop her off to the rescue where I got my other dog, Moose, from. On my way back to do that, and I posted her, and everyone was messaging me like, keep her, you gotta keep her. Like, she's meant for you, she's meant for you. I'm like, she might be, but logistically, there's no way I can afford this or anything. I did not have room for 3 dogs. I barely had room for the 2. I think I drove for about 2 hours, and I knew I was in trouble. I can't imagine like her being out there at night, like just hiding somewhere and scared, and I mean, it just broke my heart. It was a decent amount of money I had to break the lease because I had just moved in. Within, I think, 16 hours, so many people donated and like just smashed what we needed. And I was like, oh my God, I have 3 dogs now. I found Mowgli on a Monday. I got back to Ohio late Wednesday, toured the house on Friday, and moved in Saturday. Like, it was nuts. In the beginning, Milo, who's my oldest, he's kind of like, I don't need a sister. Like, whatever, she can stay, but I'm not interested. And Moose was, like, you would have thought Moose gave birth to Mowgli. Like, he was her mom. She loves both her brothers, but her and Moose cuddle every night. So that's definitely her big spoon right there. It's funny now that she's gotten healthy and she's nuts, like she zoomies everywhere. She's got so much energy. She tricked us. I thought she was shy. But now that she has all of this energy, they like alternate taking care of her and getting it out. Like, Moose will play with her in the afternoon because that's where he gets more of his energy. Milo takes care of her in the morning, the wrestling. I have 2 nannies here with me, and I appreciate it because they get her energy out, and I basically have a dog park with the 3 of them. Like, she's so happy. She always has this like permanent smile, like smirk on her face, and man, I've never seen her have a bad day. She's just always happy, always so happy just to be here. Honestly, I love everything about being a dog dad. You can have the worst day and you come home to a smiling face that just is like spent their whole day just waiting for you to come back. It's a very special thing. And even if we're doing nothing together, it's so much fun. I just sit there and watch them. They're honestly great dogs. If I was to have 3 dogs, they're the 3 I would pick. I've learned so much just about life and how I am from 3 of them. So different, but they mesh so well. And Mowgli really has been like that final glue that I didn't know we needed, but we definitely needed. It was meant to be for sure.
He was really skinny, but even we saw he was beautiful. It was awful. It was about 40, 45 degrees. It's really, really hot. And then you see the horse fighting to kick off the ropes from his legs. When I found Aladdin, he was about 200 kilos. He was really weak. People don't have the money, and they left this horse died there. But he was beautiful. That's why his name is Aladdin, because he has long hair. We thought he was never with other horses, so we had to learn the language of the horses again. Then we put him in the group, and he was Bob. I'm here. And the other horses were in shock. Oh my God. Now he's the big boss in his place, and with his long hair, it's like he's walking like a king. And no, he's really beautiful.
I first started noticing when he would knead on the blanket, and then he started playing with their toys and kind of mimicking what they would do, like bouncing as they play in the same type of style. When I first brought him home, he was just like the size of a little potato. They were found as strays. He was the sole survivor of his litter. We don't know what happened to them or what happened to mom, just that somebody found him like that and brought him into the shelter. So I took him into foster care. So for the first few weeks was bottle feeding, just helping him grow. And then, you know, he was able to get a lot bigger and stronger. He got to really grow up next to them. So as he grew, he just became more and more friendly with them. And, you know, as he starts to play, he's right there bouncing next to the cats. I first started noticing when he would knead on the blanket. That was the first thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. And then he started playing with their toys and kind of mimicking what they would do, like bouncing as they play in the same type of style. And it was just like more behavior started coming out, which was hilarious and super adorable too. My cats, especially when they play, they'll kind of bounce and then hit each other. And he would do that where he would bounce and then like tap the cats. And then we have like scratching posts in our living room, and he would run up and try and get the ball on the scratching post, which was hilarious. And I have cat beds laying around, and he would go cuddle up in the cat beds instead of the dog beds. Just him interacting with the cats. I mean, most of the time when I have puppies, they'll go run with my dogs, but he would just want to sit there with the cats instead. If they don't like a dog, they'll usually hiss and swat at them, and they didn't do that with him. They totally let him play with them and hang out with them. Occasionally I'll have a puppy that will sometimes interact with the cats, but never like that. I've never had one where they've spent that much time with them and acting like them. That was a first for me. So he was here for 3 months, and he actually just got adopted last week. And kind of perfect ending to it is he went to a home with some of my previous foster kittens. So he's actually now living with 2 cats of his own. Like right before I was gonna start promoting him for adoption, one of my past adopters reached out and was like, yes, that is absolutely perfect. So I couldn't have asked for a better ending for him.
Otto has never been scared of Russell. In the beginning, it was more me and his father who was a bit scared that maybe Russell could hurt Otto or vice versa, because he's only 2 years old. He doesn't know the effects of his actions. It all started when my boyfriend, he was out working. He works outside all day. And one day he noticed this little crow sitting right next to him. And it didn't move, it didn't flinch, it just sat there. So throughout the whole day, he just watched it, and at the end of the day, he still hasn't moved, and he walks up to him and tries to pick him up. And he could just pick him right up. He didn't even put up a struggle or try to bite him or anything. He was basically more dead than alive. So he called me and asked, like, what should I do with this bird? And we tried to call the wildlife rehabilitator. in the middle of the summer, they are really busy because there are all kinds of animals who need help. And so they told us that he had probably been abandoned and that we should let nature take its course. So we felt sorry for Russell and we thought that he should have a fair chance to live. So we brought him home and nursed him back to health. I tried my best to keep the kids away from Russell, but there was just this immediate attraction between them. They were like drawn to each other. So Otto would walk straight up to Russell and, try to look in his eyes and try to interact him to play with him. And Russell would just sit there and watch him and kind of try to figure out what he wants him to do. Otto would go and pet him and, lift him up, and Russell will just, let him do it. I think it's important to still have in mind that this is a wild animal and you need to have respect for nature. I think a lot of people have an unnecessary fear of the nature and the wildlife. Treat them with respect instead. I see him as a good friend that likes to hang out.